In this video, I'll address how you can find that sweet spot for pricing your retreat so that it's easy to fill and also energy rich and profitable for you to deliver. When it comes to pricing your retreat, I know that it can be a little bit confusing and there can be a desire to drop the price in order to sell more and make it easier to fill. But in this video, I want to share with you some ways that you can up your perceived value so you can charge a premium price. So let's talk about what it is to have a premium price. If you've ever paid for movie theater popcorn, then you know what premium pricing is. It's essentially when a product is more valuable because of how it's positioned, because of how people are going to use it or who's going to use it. You know, popcorn in the supermarket costs like $1 for a big bag, but in the movie theater, it's like $10. Why? Because it's part of the experience, because it enhances the movie experience. You're not buying popcorn, you're buying a movie experience. So when it comes to, for example, shoes or jeans, we see this again and again. If you remember, if you're a woman and you remember when 7 jeans first came out back in the, I think, mid to late 90s, they were a huge craze and people for the first time ever were spending over $100 on a pair of jeans. Why? Because they had a fantastic value proposition. They made your butt look good, and women will spend any amount of money to make their butt look good. I know I will. So when we buy products that have a high perceived value, we're willing to pay more. And so what I want to do in this video is share with you some ways that you can increase the value of your retreat so you can charge a premium price. So one way that you can raise the perceived value is to focus on selling the cure, not the medicine. So when it comes to your retreat, there's an outcome that you want to help your retreat attendees get. So often when we're selling events and especially retreats, we can forget what that outcome is. We get caught up in the hotel that we're going to stay at or the swimming pool at the hotel. When generally, when you're creating a retreat, at least the way we create them, there's a much deeper purpose. There's a much deeper meaning for the retreat. There's a much deeper outcome that you want to deliver. So I look at it as the distinction between selling the medicine and selling the cure. When you sell the medicine, you're often selling the thing that people don't really care about, the thing that they sort of have to take in order to get the outcome that they really want. The outcome that they really want is the cure. So we want to start thinking about your retreat in terms of the outcome that it provides so that you can raise that perceived value. So the way to do that with a retreat is to start, number one, by really getting connected to who is the audience for your retreat. Who are you focusing on? Who are you wanting to serve and to help? Once you know really clearly the kind of people that you're looking to enroll in your retreat, then ask yourself, what are they struggling with? What is the pain point or the problem that I'm going to help them solve in my retreat? Now, there are 3 types of pain points and problems. I go into these in depth in other videos of mine, but in this video, I'm just going to quickly run through them. There are 3 core pain points. 1 is the problem people know they have and admit. This is something that they're already looking for a solution to. And this is where you want to lead with in your marketing, incidentally. The second piece is the pain point that people know but don't necessarily admit. This is more of the emotional problem that people have that they don't necessarily feel comfortable talking about, and they might even feel some sort of shame or guilt around. The third problem is the problem that they don't even know they have. So as you're designing your retreat and you're creating that outcome or promise, if you will, that the retreat will provide, you want to look at each of these 3 pain points and see how your retreat addresses each one. The next thing I already mentioned briefly is your promise. The promise of your retreat is basically what that outcome is. What are you guaranteeing that people are going to get from this retreat? Let me give you an example of the people with the pain points and problems like I just talked about. I have a client, his name is Albert Pellichet, and he runs this retreat called Man Camp. Now, Man Camp, the target audience of Man Camp is middle-aged men who are kind of going through some sort of crisis, maybe a midlife crisis. They are feeling unfulfilled. They're feeling not successful enough. Maybe they're even kind of bored in their marriage. They're thinking about getting a divorce or even having an affair. So these are the type of men that Albert is focusing on for his man camp. Now, what he provides in man camp is something that they don't necessarily know that they need or want. The problem that they know they have and that they admit is that they feel like something's missing, and they're thinking that they want to change and do a drastic transformation in their life. Maybe they want a new job, a new career, a new wife, something like that. The second problem that they know that's inside but that they're not admitting is that they feel like a failure, that they feel unfulfilled. They feel lonely and sad and depressed, or they just feel they have all these emotions that they're feeling but they're not really sharing. Now, the problem that they have that they don't know about yet is that they don't have a deep spiritual practice. And if you told them this, they would probably run the other direction. And Albert isn't really selling spirituality, but what he is doing is he's helping men tap into deeper layers of themselves and find more meaning in their lives. Now, they don't necessarily know they're looking for this. This is a blind spot. Now, Albert's promise is it's the ultimate weekend retreat to get away, get focused, and get real with yourself. Notice he's not promising anything around a spiritual awakening. He is, however, addressing those problems that they know they have and the problems that they know and they don't admit. The next thing you want to do as you're developing your retreat pricing is to package your retreat together with something else or with some other elements. When we just try to sell a retreat by itself, the perceived value is lower than if instead we sell an outcome and a bundle and a package of services that achieve that outcome. I'll give you an example. When I first did my very first retreat, I started trying to sell it just as a 3-day retreat. My price point at the time was $2,500. Now, the challenge was some people didn't think that it was even possible for an event, a 3-day event, to be worth $2,500. But when I positioned it based on the promise that in this package, you're going to write your business plan, you're going to get clear on your business model, and all these other outcomes. And on top of that, we included personality testing, we included an intake call, we included a follow-up call. Once we packaged all these things around it, then it was much easier for people to see the perceived value of the bundle. So one of the things to consider is rather than just pricing your retreat by itself, what else can you package in with your retreat which will raise the perceived value? Now, if you're doing a 3-day retreat like the ones that we do, I recommend pricing in the range of about $1,500 to $2,500. Now, that might seem high to you, it might seem low, but if it seems high to you, that's really because you haven't fully acknowledged or embraced the outcome that you're going to deliver in your retreat. Once you define that and you get an outcome that people really want, you'll find that a $1,500 to $2,500 price point is actually pretty easy. Now, by the way, when I talk about a retreat, probably should have mentioned this earlier, what I'm talking about is a small, intimate, immersion style event with maybe 5 to 15 people. More than that, and I already think of that as another type of event. So if you're looking to do something bigger, I also have videos about how to make money from large events, which you can check out by clicking in the link up there. So remember, as you're putting together your retreat pricing, there are a whole bunch of ways to raise the perceived value. And one of my favorite is to remember, sell the cure, not the medicine. Or as David Barton says, sell the hot body, not the workout. So if you want to do more along the lines of retreats, if you're interested in diving deeper and learning how to design, fill, monetize, and make an impact through your retreats, then go ahead and click on the link below and download my Retreats to Riches Roadmap. It's free, and I guarantee you it's going to be super valuable. Enjoy.